Getting your book finished is one of the biggest hurdles for any author. And in many aspects, just beginning is a hurdle. You may have started already, but beginning each day or each time that you're diving in to be able to accomplish what you want to for that day and get closer to that final draft of your book. So taking on that daunting task can seem overwhelming at times, and that's where procrastination rears its ugly head. But don't give up hope. There is a way and mindset that can help you begin and finish your book. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. The mindset and actions to take to move past procrastination and tackle your book with confidence. This is Your Path to Publish. I'm your host, Zach Christensen. For the past decade, our team has guided authors just like you to find the best path to publish your book, get people excited to buy it even before it launches, and to turn it into the ultimate business card to build your business and your legacy. If you are ready to get your book out of your head and into people's hands, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. I'm going to tell you about my experience, my wife's experience with reading with our son. We both know the value of reading, and as my son is early in his grade school years, he has the task of doing 20 minutes of reading each day. And for him, this is a struggle. He likes reading. There's times when he'll sit down and read, although I think he'd rather play video games and watch TV the majority of the time, if those other parents out there can relate to this. So our initial approach to reading has been to set the timer for 20 minutes. And when he's reading, the timer's going. And when he stops reading, we pause the timer. And that has turned 20 minutes of reading into 30, 40, or 50 minutes of reading time, because my son will want to eat while we're reading. He'll want to pause and ask a question. He'll want to do something else besides read. So my wife and I decided to shift our approach. And instead of doing 20 minutes of reading on a timer, we pick a book and estimate how many pages need to be read to accomplish 20 minutes worth of reading. And the change that we've seen has been amazing. We know that our son has had the ability and talent for reading, but just not the drive or focus for reading during those 20 minutes that we did previously. So the changes that we've seen in him is that he is a lot more focused. He will read words really well, and his ability and practice at reading has increased. So that 20 minutes worth of reading may only take 15 minutes, but the quality and effectiveness of it has dramatically increased. And it's made it better for everyone, better for my son, better for my wife and I. So ultimately, what my son was doing during the 20-minute timer of reading was he was procrastinating. He was just trying to run down the clock and be done, instead of having something to focus on as a goal to finish, which we switched to with the number of pages. So for you as an author, procrastination is something I'm sure that we've all experienced. For authors, it seems to be more of a common occurrence. And I believe there are many reasons for this. And while there are many common reasons, I think it often depends on the author and what's holding you back. So I want to put forth a few mindset shifts on what you can do. So the first one is something that's come from an author I'm working with, Curtis Morley, who's working on a book called Counterfeit Emotions. And he points out that there's these emotions that we experience that feel like they're bringing us together and connecting, but they're actually disconnecting us. And one of those is excellence versus perfectionism. We want to have the perfect book, but striving for that perfectionism actually hinders us in a lot of ways. Take the first mindset shift and go for excellence. And underlying excellence is that you're focusing on doing your best work, and that you'll go through many drafts, many iterations to get to that excellence versus having something that's perfect. Because there's always something with the perfection mindset that you can tweak, that you can make better. But excellence helps you to understand that what you're putting forth is your best work. So how do we do that? Well, one thing I talk about is being consistent a lot. And what does that really mean? I think years ago, I used to think it meant we're doing the same thing with a planned time every day, which would mean I'm doing it consistently. But I would reframe what consistency means. Much of what we think of consistency as being, we are actually thinking about as being constant. Doing something constantly is more related to doing something every day at the same time and is related to the routines and habits we set up. So like with my son, we were doing the reading constantly every day. Now, consistency means that we keep going even when we don't do what we want to do with writing or marketing or building your brand isn't perfect and it doesn't happen every day. When we have a setback that shows up. For a long time, I've had different exercise and health goals, and it always seems as I get onto these goals and get on a roll, something happens, life happens, and a setback shows up. Either I get sick, we go on vacation, I eat a little bit too much of that delicious food I really like and too many treats, and that delays me. And I used to get really discouraged by it, but then I've learned the power of consistency. It's moving towards your goal day by day or week by week and expecting that you will be making progress, even though there will be delays and setbacks. I expect those things and I don't let it stop me from being consistent. So for you as authors, it may be setting a weekly writing goal, and you're going to be consistent in trying to achieve that goal each week. Now, you may not be constant every day in achieving that goal to reach that. So for example, you may have set a 500 a week word count goal that you're going to produce that many words per week. And so on Monday, maybe you get 100 of those words. Tuesday, you've gone back and you've done some edits on those 100 words. And then on Wednesday, you had some real strong inspiration and you kicked out 300 words. Thursday, maybe you missed it, something came up. And then Friday, you wrap it up. And Saturday, you look back and maybe you got a little less or maybe you got a little more. But the point is that consistency and the constancy with the habits and routines help you reach that goal. I'd love to hear what your consistent and constant habits, routines are and how you show up as an author. So send me a note, tag us on our social media accounts. I'd love to learn more from you. So thank you for listening today. And don't forget to download our Juxtabook Perfect Book Proposal. It's on juxtabook.com. This proposal will help you whether you're traditionally self or hybrid publishing your book. And on next week's episode, I'm really excited to go over author models. And this is something I've been working on for the past few months. And I've identified 12 author models for nonfiction authors that spread across 4 different categories. So tune in next week to understand the power of knowing which model you might fall into. And as always, if you have a question about a recent episode that you'd like to submit, visit juxtabook.com/your path to publish and click the appropriate button, or refer to the show notes to go to the spot where you can leave a voicemail question and I will answer it in one of the upcoming episodes. Thanks for listening. Go out there, dust off your manuscript and turn it into a bestseller that grows your expertise and business.